Fabled Heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The weight settled in my bones long before the screaming started. It was a subtle ache at first, a discordance in the hum of the world's loom. Then the kingdoms of humanity, greedy and short-sighted, ripped the my asterisk magic, from the very fabric of existence. They called it progress, an era of man, the end of the Fae, the sprites, the elementals. They didn't understand the threads they severed, the delicate balance they destroyed. They thought magic was a resource to be plundered, not the lifeblood of the world itself. Now the air thrummed with raw, uncontrolled energy. Rivers surged and receded at random. Mountains shifted, and the veil between worlds, once a shimmering curtain, was fraying into ragged holes. My name is Lyra, and I am the Weaver. I was born to maintain the order, to ensure the smooth flow of magical energy. Now I was left with the remnants, the tattered ends, and the impossible task of rebuilding. The first thing to go was logic. Time became fluid, a river bending back on itself. I saw echoes of the future, fractured images of a world consumed by chaos. I needed anchors, focal points to ground the magic before it consumed everything. That's when I found them, the nodes, places where the earth itself pulsed with latent energy, dormant wells waiting to be tapped. They were scattered across the map, ancient sites long forgotten, and each one required a specific key, a specific alignment. I could feel the tug, a desperate plea emanating from them, but I couldn't reach them alone. I lacked the strength, the focus. My sight led me to the Wolfstone Peaks, a region claimed by the Norden Kingdom, the fiercest and most anti-magic of all. There, amidst the iron mines and the echoing forges, resided the key to the first node, Kalen, the Ice Lord. Kalen was everything I despised. Tall, brutally handsome, with eyes like chips of glacial ice, he radiated a cold, pragmatic strength that mirrored the kingdom he ruled. He was a weapon, forged in the fires of war and steeped in the blood of my kind. I arrived at his fortress under the guise of a traveling merchant, offering rare minerals from the eastern wastes. He saw through my disguise immediately, of course. His guards were on me before I even finished my bow. A Fae trinket peddler, Kalen's voice was low, a rumble that seemed to vibrate through the very stone of the fortress. In my asterisk domain, how bold. I met his gaze, trying to project an image of fear I didn't feel. I meant no disrespect, Lord Kalen. I merely thought you might be interested in my wares. He raised a brow, a flicker of amusement in his eyes. And what makes you think I would have any interest in baubles from a dying race? Because, I said, my voice barely a whisper, your land is dying too. His expression hardened, he knew. He felt the unnatural storms that ravaged his coasts, the livestock that sickened and died, the crops that withered in the fields. He knew, but he refused to acknowledge it. Guards, seize her, he commanded. She speaks treason. I didn't resist, I expected this. In the dungeons, I waited, I knew he would come. He arrived at midnight, cloaked in shadow, his eyes burning with a cold fire. The air around him crackled with suppressed power. What do you know? He demanded, his voice tight with suppressed rage. I remained seated on the cold stone floor. I know that the magic your people stole is killing your land, your people. I know that you are not as blind as you pretend to be. And I know, I continued, meeting his icy stare, that you are the key to saving it. He scoffed, save it with magic, that's a fool's errand. Magic is a curse, a weakness. It's also the only thing that's keeping this world from falling apart, I countered. You feel it, don't you? The imbalance, the discord. The earth is screaming, and you are deafening yourself to its pain. I laid out my plan carefully, deliberately. I explained the nodes, the energy surges, the fractured veil. I told him of the chaos to come, the annihilation that awaited if we did nothing. He listened in silence, his face an impassive mask. When I finished, he simply said, "Prove it." And so began our uneasy alliance. Forced proximity became our reality. He was a stubborn, frustrating, infuriating man. He questioned everything, doubted everything, and fought me every step of the way. I, in turn, found his pragmatism and steely resolve oddly compelling. He challenged me in ways no one ever had, forcing me to confront my own prejudices and limitations. The journey to the first node was arduous. We traveled through blizzards and treacherous mountain passes, battling rogue elementals warped by the uncontrolled magic. We argued, we fought, we learned to anticipate each other's moves. One night, huddled around a dying fire, he asked me, "Why me, Lyra? Why did you choose *me?" I hesitated. I could have lied, told him it was a strategic choice, a matter of necessity. But something in his gaze, a vulnerability I hadn't seen before, compelled me to be honest. "I saw something in you," I said softly. "A strength, a resilience, but also a deep connection to the land. You may deny magic, but you are bound to it, Kaelin, more than you realize." He didn't reply, but I saw a flicker of something in his eyes, understanding, perhaps, or maybe just resignation. When we finally reached the node, it was a desolate, windswept plateau. The air thrummed with raw power, almost too much to bear. "This is it," I said, my voice trembling. "I need you to channel your energy, your connection to the land. Focus, Kaelin, focus on the balance." He hesitated, then closed his eyes. He drew a long, shuddering breath, and I saw the tension drain from his face. Slowly, carefully, he reached out, his hand hovering over the pulsating earth. A surge of power erupted from the node, engulfing both of us. I cried out, overwhelmed by the sheer intensity of the magic. It coursed through me, through him, weaving us together in a tapestry of energy. I saw flashes of his past, his fears, his hopes, and he, in turn, saw mine. For a moment we were one consciousness, one purpose. Then it was over, the surge subsided, leaving us breathless and trembling. The node hummed with newfound power, its light radiating outwards, a beacon in the gathering darkness. We had done it, we had stabilized the first anchor. But the relief was short-lived. As we turned to leave, we saw them, figures emerging from the swirling mists, their faces obscured by shadows, Norden soldiers led by Kaelin's own brother, Torvin. "Traitor," Torvin roared, his voice echoing across the plateau. "You consort with the enemy, you betray your people." Kaelin stepped in front of me, his hand resting on the hilt of his sword. "I am protecting my people," he said, his voice cold and unwavering. "You are the one who threatens them with your blind adherence to outdated ideals." "Kill them both," Torvin screamed, and the soldiers surged forward, their swords drawn. Kaelin and I fought back to back, a whirlwind of steel and magic, but we were outnumbered, outmatched. And as I saw Kaelin fall, a blade piercing his side, I knew that our uneasy alliance, our shared purpose, might very well end here, and with it, the last hope for a world on the brink. I screamed as magic coursed through me, more potent than ever. I can feel the veil between worlds thinning, allowing the creatures of myth to enter through into this world to aid in our escape.